change your focus and your vision, broaden it a bit to see. You have this narrow mindset that can be a positive or negative. The negative side of a narrow mindset is that you don't see outside the box. Once you start to look outside your narrow mindset, you see that there is people out there that will help you, good mentors around, take that first step. Sometimes you've got to step out and widen you. Another time you have to bring it in.
Hey, and welcome back to the podcast. We are here with Desmond Power from DesmondSpeaks.com. Desmond is a co-author with Pat Mesiti in our book, The Power of Transformation. And Desmond Power is a proud indigenous and South Sea Island man. He's the quiet achiever. He's a loving husband, father, grandfather. He has over 20 years experience being a mentor. And he believes that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you are created to soar. So we will be finding out about what Desmond's all about, his life philosophy, and what he has to teach us. So Desmond, glad to be talking to you.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. It's wonderful. It's phase in life to go through and put something down on paper. You certainly all have a story to tell, and yeah, that's a story I had to tell. Put in the chapter is faithful. Your help and Pat. It, achieved something in my life, take to another level, and in my journey in life.
And now you are immortalized because like you can go to a library in the present day and find some dusty old book from 1700s. And now because things are digital, they'll be preserved forever. So now, 5,000 years in the future, someone can go and find your book and find out what you're all about. So now you're part of that immortality club. And we want to talk with you about just what has you excited these days? What has you fired up? What's your message? So just what's on your mind the last 6 to 12 months?
Well, just having a strong mindset there, and not only to help others, but it helps myself. And that's one of the greatest achievements I've found by putting this down and, this podcast or writing a chapter in the book. It's helped my mindset again to say that anything's achievable with good mentors and be confident in yourself. Put something out there and believe in it.
Yes.
That it made me told. Yeah. So it's just, and this is my heart. I just, time to get emotional, but I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to do it.
You had a big goal and you saw it through to the end despite the struggles and the
Yeah.
challenges. And so as far as the type of person that you speak to, who is that? Like when someone finds you and looks for kind of your mentorship, your life advice, where are they stuck? Where are they struggling and frustrated?
Yeah. Mainly in the area that, it's not, you're not defined by what race or what skin color or what your background or may have been brought up. There's opportunity out there that people will take you on board and like good mentors and, have a good family relationship. It certainly was a big help in my life. It was the main thing I led upon. And my dad was I mentioned in the chapter I put that my dad was a minister. So I got a lot of support from him. And he grown up with same with mine, our education wasn't, uh, you know, wasn't profound or academic. We just, what I learned from him was just being yourself. So if I could help or speak to someone, it's about being yourself and having good people around you that can help with your character and your outlook on life, that you can move forward anything that you want to do in life.
I like that a lot. And it's easy to have the pity party and to say, well, that person had a better chance than me, or that person had help. And, we all have opportunities in life and some more than others, but it's up to us to decide to squander it or to make the most of what we have. And then there's also that talk about the inner self, right? There's the person who you really are and your best self and who you're meant to be. And sometimes the clutter gathers all around it. and there can be negativity, or you might have those bad family relationships or a bad circle of friends. And that's why it's helpful to listen to people like you and kind of get this life advice and get these reminders to get back on track. So what do you think in this day and age stops people from being fulfilled and living their best life?
Yeah, I find a lot of people. I've the last few years I've worked with youth, and I've found it's their self identity and how what they think of themselves, and like I was saying before, their background, where they come from, and it, what their what race they are, or what color they are. They're the things that can stop us from moving forward. And unless you have a good look at yourself and realize, I'm in this world, not on your own, but I'm put in this world too. We're all different, but we're all put on this world for the same purpose. Is to is to be both to be become a mentor yourself, to help others. To see someone who coming maybe from your same background or from your same race or whatever may be your problem. There is good people who've been through it, so lean upon them to help move forward.
And so you're kind of saying how it's important to have that kind of that mentor that helps you, and then you be a mentor to help someone else. And I like that a lot because if it's just you on your own, you have blind spots, and you might have like that low self esteem and not even really want to work on yourself. But then if you have someone else helping you, and if you're helping someone else, it's kind of like if you go and visit someone at their home and you see some clutter, it's easy for you to say, "Hello, let me help you clean up the clutter." But then if you're in your own space, you might not want to clean up your own clutter, and so that might
Right.
help to bring awareness to some of these problems that are that need fixing. And so you help the youth of today, and some of them are dealing with kind of these mindset blocks and these problems with race. And so, does any one youth in particular come to mind, or does any particular story or situation come to mind that can help us understand your outlook on life?
But it's a great example on life. Is is there yeah, it's some youth I've seen today I've helped early on in life, and he was not indigenous. We took him in on healthy work and taught him how to have good work ethics. And and today I last I heard him, I haven't spoken to him for a number of years now, but I've heard it through good sources that he's doing well, married, has children, and he was about 80, 90 when it first took him up, came and stayed with him just to teach him how to work, because I've learned to work, and he was so happy for that. So yeah, that's the sort of example that once you've learned yourself, you can help others. And that's one of them. I think my great example is my own life. I've stepped out on the stepped on a limb and had to go with something that my education I finished. I think I never missed the book, but my education, I think I had in the chapter that grade nine, I finished school in grade nine. So not that I wasn't good at school, I just because I could work hard at my hands, I thought that was it. I work hard with my hands, I'll get by in life, that's great. But then I was encouraged later in life to go and you can further studies, no matter how much education you have or where you come from. It's good help in the system in Australia. It was anyway, for when you come to education, your tapes and other people around you that you can go and, you know, surround yourself with people that can give you that good education again and to help you make them steps to move forward again. Uh, yeah, that's what some of the things I've done that then it can help others once you've learned to, you know, I think it's like any proofs and putting, like they say, it's what you've done yourself, and people can see, whether it's good life that you can live, and it's achievable from where you come from. Yeah, no, I don't think good example on life. One of my first biggest challenges in life was I went and like 20 years ago. So I think I was just in my, just, 1999, I went to New South Wales and was down there working, first of all, I'd work with the indigenous helping people work, because I'm always good at my hands, so I always encourage people to, to work hard, to, work with the hands. If you work hard, you get self-respect, and self-respect can, once you get self-respect for yourself, it puts you down a lot of, it can lead down a lot of different avenues, and it gives you confidence to have a go at something. So an achievement for me to actually kickstart me, I know that you can achieve something. I went, and worked in New South Wales at the, road and transport authorities, and just even to get through the first steps was, I learned how to turn a computer and enter a few things on the computer, and that was the test rods. And like I said, again, it's good people out there that can help set you in place to, they can see they don't want you to fail. So have confidence in yourself that people don't want you to fail on everything, that they're out there. They can come across some people who don't want to help you all, but there's always chance for someone there that will help you, help achieve your goals. So they help me through the computer, then I had a set of exams, and the first exam I had a question there on road rules. So I read the book and took me 3 goes at it to get to 100%, because that's 100% before you go on to the next question out of 100 questions. So I accomplished that. And the next bit of challenge was sitting around table in front of, I think it's 40 people there, 40 I think were sitting around there, and everyone had to go through and tell their life story. And I was listening to everyone, and everyone was academics, and they were, some were came just out of uni, and I was thinking to myself, how am I going to, I was starting to really in myself, I'm going to get through this. I've, they've all told their life story, and when it comes to me, it's, well, there's you here now, take this moment for yourself and be who you are. So I just explained to me, I was off a farm, finished school on grade 9, meat worker, just did labour on my life, my education. Well, I wasn't academic. And so people will believe in it once you're honest, and let them know, yeah, it's be yourself. And, you needed 97% to get through out of theory and your practical, become a driver test. So already, yeah, I passed the exam and became a driver tester. So that from then on, that's why I started to realize if I can do this, I can help others achieve the same goals.
I like this a lot, and my brain
Mm,
is just trying to hold all the life lessons that you put out there, because it seems like what you're saying is how important it is to have that community, that mentorship
mm,
aspect, to surround yourself with successful people, whatever success means, right? It doesn't necessarily
yeah,
mean money, but it can mean that they've achieved their goals, that they're happy, that they have good family relationships, and it's far too easy to just settle in with a bad group of friends, or to be isolated and just drown in the negativity. And who wants that? That's not good for anybody. And so
yes,
you mentioned a few minutes ago about how you help out with this idea of the work ethic, right? Like you've done the hard labor, the farm work. And I
yeah,
mean, that seems like the hardest kind of job there is, right? There's sitting at a desk, but I mean, working with your arms and your body. I mean, that's really hard work. And it seems like there was a little bit what you said in there, is that maybe the key to a good work ethic is to, in the beginning, just charge ahead and do it anyway. And even though it feels unnatural, you don't feel like waking up early or moving your arms, take the action anyway. And then once you know that you can do it and you see the results, then you kind of get encouraged, and then you get the encouragement from other people, and then you can just continue from there. But it seems like you need to, like you use the word kickstart, to just plow
yeah,
forward at first, even though you might not think you can do it. And then once you prove to yourself that you can do it, then it's just uphill from there.
yeah. It change your whole mindset in life. Like it gives you a whole different outlook. Where sometimes where you think you feel that inadequate because maybe because of your skin color, or maybe because of your race. And uh, you hear the old saying, you should get around a lot when you're growing up, and that's right. very thankful to mum and dad that although where our families came from, as I've spoken in the past about some of the atrocities they went through, it, you know, that mindset, it would remind me, said, "Yeah, well, if they can do it, we can make it too." And so it's just broaden your, I think, you got to change your focus and your vision. You got to broaden it a bit to see. You have this narrow-minded mindset that, it can be a positive or negative. The negative side of it is the narrow-minded side. Um, the negative side of a narrow mind side is that you don't see, well, the old saying is, don't see outside the box. And once you start to look outside your narrow mindset, you see that there is people out there that will help you and good mentors around, but it's up to us to take that first step. And the negative side of it too, you come on, you have a narrow mindset to set your goals and things in life that you don't get put off. Yeah, so there's a negative and a positive of the narrow mindset. And I thankfully sometimes you've got to step out and widen you. Another time you have to bring it in. So it's getting that right balance. I found that what I achieved in life, and I can help others would be listen, get the right balance. It's not always wrong to have a narrow mindset. Sometimes, narrow mindset got to broaden a bit to see that there are other people out there who are worse off than you, and be thankful that that you're in a place so that you can move forward with the right people around you, and sometimes it's losing you, it's putting off. Think you may be your best mate, and that may be holding you back. And that's a lot of things that people are frightened with because they're frightened what other people say. You're not always in that same place, frightened of what people say about it because I've learned how to go and I've failed. The failure is not the failure could be taken out of the dictionary. It'd be wonderful because that's what we're frightened of failure. And I was for years frightened of failure, but now it's certainly changed what I've been through and having a wonderful family, wonderful wife and children, changed my whole mindset that things are achievable. And if I can help someone that in life, if it's only one person, I'll be very happy.
Well, I like that a lot. This idea of how important it is to be flexible, and so that way you're not just doing one thing all the time. Like, I mean, you can become strong and work your muscles, and then be able to lift 50 pounds or be able to lift 1 pound, and you won't be lifting 50 pounds all the time, but you can if you need to. And you're also touching on this whole idea of people are always thinking about what's the meaning of life, and what's my purpose. But you're saying if you just help one person, if you just make the world better for someone out there, then you contributed, then you've done your part to humanity, and you've kind of fulfilled what the meaning of life is, which is to just help somebody else in some way, and whatever your unique skill set is, make a difference.
Yeah, that's correct. That it's like the domino, isn't it? And it push that first domino and they all fall over. So it's only going to touch one person, and you just don't know how many going to be touched from your one story. Um, that's what I've been happy about meeting you and Pat. That I had the opportunity to have this put my first chapter in a book, and it's my story. And if you can help one person, it might help someone else right there, their story that can help one person. So we started like the L saying, Dad sort of stated to me, you can count the seeds in the orange, but you can't count the orange in the seed. And yeah, it's a, it's a powerful thought when you put your mindset to it and have a look at that, just think about the people that will help one person, how many more can that seed?
Well, yeah, and you're making me think that, I mean, there's been times in my life when I just got like one helpful sentence, one helpful piece of advice, and sometimes that would make all the difference, and that would stick with me for decades and change everything. Just that little bit of encouragement, when it might not have meant very much to the person making that one statement, but there's that one thing that sort of sticks there. And so we want to make sure that people know about you and your website and this book that you're in, which is the power of transformation book.com. and your website is desmondspeaks.com. And can you give us a little bit of a tease, just a quick summary of what's in your chapter? That way we're excited about it and we go and check it out and read it.
Yeah, big teasers, people sit down and have a read and they'll learn about the history side of my story I've been telling coming from, um, from my, I'm indigenous South Sea Islander, and the South Sea Islander is it's a real history that's never been told in Australia. I'm not, that's wrong, statement, told in Australia, but it hasn't been felt on the right ears to get it out about the story of the South Sea Island people. Were more or less were brought in as everyone. They did call it indentured labour, but it was just another way for calling away from the slave trade. Because the slave trade was put out and wasn't bad and all, but we're brought indentured, and they call it indentured labour. But when you look into the history side, we're actually brought them as slaves. They used to treat us, a lot of majority of our it's not that too long ago I'm 60 today. I'm 60 now, and I'm only talking about my great grandfather was born in Australia. So it's not my great grandfather. This is just going back 100 years, and they were born in Australia to start up the sugar industry. That's what built on by bringing the South Sea Island people in from the 80s and islands around Australia. People encourage have read the book. I'm just the one story. There's many, like some of the people said, I said to them about the South Island. I said, yes, we all have a story. I said, and everyone tells, I have different versions. I said, but this is the story was handed down from my dad, his dad. So I said, no, don't get offended. Well, you have your story. I said, this is my story. So I give the opportunity to put it in the book. It's a great read. Have a read of it, and it'll bring out the history side of it, how, although we're brought out and left here on their own on over 2,500 left here um, after they brought in, government brought in, white labour policy. They stopped us from working for a while. So we're 2,500 left here, and have a great read because it'll encourage you that, how we were left here, and now I'm thankful to around my great grandfather to encourage us to move forward. And part of the story is that, they said, they never taught us language, and they didn't want to teach us language because they said, we're in the Western world, we're not done home. And way we're going to get ahead now is learn the Western ways. So it's a very interesting story to have a read. And, that's one of my things I put in the chapter about, and the grandfather down debate and said to the only person you're going to stop, you have to go home and have a look in the mirror, come back to see me tomorrow. And, he said, well, Fred, who'd you see? And he said, well, have a, he said, I see myself, of course. He said, well, that's the only person going to stop from purchasing land. So, it's very interesting for people to understand. And that's what brought me to this place to when I pondered on a lot and thought about, what can I write in this chapter? And I thought, why not on my South Sea Island people and let people know that our history, we actually were put under the multicultural system in Australia, but we're not multicultural. We were brought here to work as slaves. So that's what I want to get out and let people know. I haven't read yet of the chapter. Encourage everyone, and encourage is not. I don't. There's no negative side of them. Just making people aware that you can, no matter what circumstance you come from, you can move forward, or what race or where you be put down, and what happened to your ancestors. And it may have been very hard on them, on my great grandfather, but it's I'd be grateful that what they taught us, that the legacy will live on, just to let people know, that there is a story to tell about the South Sea Island people in Australia. So have a read the book, it'll encourage you, and it may help someone to tell their story.
We have it so easy, don't we, Desmond? I mean, it's easy to think that, if you have a bad day or a bad week, but I mean, you and I, we have, electricity, we have light, we have running water, we have food we can just go and get. And our ancestors, I mean, had it really rough. No matter
Yeah.
what, how far back you go, what centuries you had to go back to. I mean, some of our ancestors had to walk miles just to get a bucket of water, right? Had to go
Mm.
days or weeks just to kill the animal to eat. I mean,
Yeah,
we
that's
have it
correct.
so good. And you're mentioning this concept of gratitude. And then there's also what comes to mind is that idea of those who don't learn history are doomed to repeat it. And then also how whether
Yeah.
you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right either way. And if you think that your race, intelligence, money, self-esteem, network of friends, whatever, if you let any of those things hold you back, then they will. But sometimes you have to persevere and put in that extra effort in order to make your dreams happen. And so the power of transformationbook.com is the place to claim that book and jump into Desmond's excellent chapter and kind of get so much of your personality, the mindset, history lesson, motivation, all of that rolled into one. And as we're wrapping up our conversation here, Desmond, can you tell us about what you have planned for the future? What is up and coming for you? What are your goals moving forward?
Yeah, we goal moving forward is that is to just to make people more aware about one of the things I really want to move forward now on. Basically, we've had a few things in testing more about our South Sea Island people that needs to be told. So for me, just starting to, I help it helps others come forward. It's just be able to share that we do have a story to tell, and it will help people just to be aware of what the South Sea Island people. We had a big part of being in Australia, especially in Queensland, and the Australia, well, the wider Australia don't know. I've spoken to people just in the last few days. I've mentioned I've done chapter book. I mentioned about about the slave trade, and they're not aware. And they're from Queensland, live around here, born in the same area I was born. So yeah, that's what I wanted in the next leading up to it, and the things that's been unearthed that people need to know that were done to our people that it's kind of been hidden, done but no it's there. So we'll improve the light. So that's where I'm at the moment, working with with a few people that are very aware of it now, and just want to bring it forward. So not that we can have a big pity party or to hate people, but just to make it known to people that you know these things are out there. So this, like you said, don't hide the history, bring it forward so we can, it helps everyone move on. I think it helps some person who may be struggling to move forward. It's a good opportunity now for me to be able to put input into what's happening with it, especially the last 6 months. And next year's going to be a big year for the South Sea Island people on bringing truth out. So it'd be wonderful.
Fantastic. Get the message out. And so since we're speaking about your message, like your catchphrase or this thing that you love to say is you were made to soar. So can you explain to us what that means?
Yeah, everyone's great soar, and you can. The old saying, "You soar like the eagle." You can get above the problems and soar, and and you can, you know, the eagle they gave us strength and soar, and our soul in life, we achieve something. We can soar above the things that might happen in the past. Don't let them pull you down. Be like the eagle, get up there and soar, and that's what encouragement children will do. You can you're fearfully and wonderfully made. So, I was brought up in a Christian background and with the great scriptures in the Bible, and you can apply it. You can, I applied it to my life, but if you're not a Christian, you may have something else you can align your life to. But we all always come back to the same thing. You can achieve and soar above your problem. And that's where you get your strength from. Like people, when they saw they were gathering their strength, and everyone just gets renewed. So I encourage people, you learn to soar, you can encourage others, and most of all, it builds strength. So,
I love it. And what you're making me think of is, we all have these hangups or these, bad things that happened to us, things that held us back. And that's way in the past. And that was like a one-time event. That's like a little grain of sand on the beach. And it seems like it's up to us to say, can that remain a grain of sand on the beach 300 meters down with the eagle flying above? We can
yeah,
either let that stay what it is, or we can do the incorrect thing and let it just follow us for decades to come. And who wants that? Who wants that one-time event to chase
that's
you around forever? It's time to do better than that. And the next step for someone to do better than that is to check out thepoweroftransformationbook.com, desmondspeaks.com, and then on Instagram, you're available at Desmond Speaks. Are there any are there any other websites or resources that you think we should check out?
No, at this stage, it's about that. But it's a great one if people want to learn a lot about the history of the South Sea Island people. Go on, look up, you can get on YouTube, brown sugar, and that'll give them the whole, another great outlook. You look into what the South Sea Island people go through to be in Australia now. And you will have to go your whole history. So, go on the brown sugar, that's just one of them. People can have a look. Yeah, YouTube, brown sugar, or go to the library, look for the book. There's books out there. And that'll just give us the history of the South Sea Island people in Australia. That's my main goal, to just forget it. The stories out there, and and the truth. Yeah, the truth be told, but to make people more aware of the truth of the South Sea Island people and the slave trade in Australia.
I love it. It's good to be educated, and as you pointed out, back during that ugly history when the government did not want those workers to be educated, they did not want them to read. That's a sign that for the rest of us in the present day, if we want to become more than what we are, get educated and read about these sorts of things and be naturally curious. So we'll check out Brown Sugar on YouTube, and we'll link to that in the podcast show notes. And it's good to know about what happened historically to the South Sea Island people. The Power of Transformation book and DesmondSpeaks.com. We'll see you at those locations. And thank you very much, Desmond, for taking the time and showing up and being personal and authentic and genuine and vulnerable and telling us about what you're all about. I really appreciate it.
Uh, Thanks, Robert. I appreciate you done and helped with the chapter of the wonderful book of the Power of Transformation. And hopefully that will transform many people to come.
And your name's in it, right? The Power of Transformation. So it's made just for you.
Sure. Yeah, wonderful. Looking forward to the book you sent out. Be wonderful line. Yeah, to be able to head out the booklets of the chapter. So yeah, a few people are asking for it now, so that'll be great.
And those people can go to thepoweroftransformationbook.com right now to claim it. So we'll see you there. For those people who want it, thepoweroftransformationbook.com.